Hey, it's Troy. So here we are in Poland. Just had a nice bite to eat and sitting around now out in the street watching the crowds go by on a very pleasant Sunday evening. And what I wanted to talk about today was, I'm kind of going to call this ramping up, all right? And I'll explain what I mean by that as we get into this. But basically, I've done quite a few videos recently, as people who watch the channel will know, kind of taking a more existential view of the older bachelor, and do you really want relationships anymore? Do you even want sex anymore? What is the point of all of it? Is there a point in all of it? And almost going towards the sort of not quite swearing off entirely, but certainly getting a little bit more into that territory of saying, well, look, actually, focus on yourself. Relationships are ephemeral. Often relationships don't actually work out very well over the long term anyway. So, you'd be foolish to really get too wound up with that. And anyway, as you get older, the monkey sort of gets off your back a little bit and you tend to sort of relax about it as well. And it reflects all of that good stuff. Now, I've now been in Poland with James Tusk, and we've been out here now at least 3 weeks. We've been about 3 weeks, give or take. We've had 3 weekends here. We did Krakow first weekend, then we're in Lublin, now we're here. And I'm going to be going over to Warsaw next week and hanging out there for a couple of weeks before we go to Gdansk and Gdynia and Sopot. They're all connected, they're all interconnected. Seaside party town. So if you're interested in coming and joining us to get some training, to get some help with your dating life, your dating circumstances, then just get in touch. Drop me an email, troy@realtroyfrancis.com. We've had a bunch of guys out so far. It's been a blast. It's been a hell of a lot of fun, and it's been awesome. And they've learned a lot, and we've learned a lot as well. But the purpose really of what I want to talk about is this idea of ramping up, because I've done some videos and I've been fairly sort of open about a lack of desire, or sort of fading out of desire, for sex and for dating and all of those kinds of things. And I thought I'd do a little bit of an update about that, because obviously now you're seeing videos of me charging around with James Tusk, and you're probably, might be thinking, well, how does that connect with the other stuff that you've been putting out? And, the answer is it's all interconnected. There's no... Well, for me at least, there's no sort of definitive endpoint on this journey. My feelings about these things, my desire to engage in the dating market personally, is in a constant state of flux. Sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down. Now, in the early part of this year, 2022, to be frank, for most of the 6 months of this year, it's been pretty low, right? And that's partly because of having a little bit of an existential crisis, and thinking through a lot of these issues that I've been talking about in the videos. And also because I've just been sitting around in London, and it's been winter, and I've had a lot of work and various other things, right? Now, we're in Poland, which is famously, obviously, the home to many beautiful women. We're traveling around some of the major cities here. And I'm also teaching students. I'm teaching students dating skills, and self-confidence and social skills and all the rest of it. So you might ask, well, okay, so how is that affecting you, and what lessons have I learned from that? This morning, I read an article about a concept called ramping. Okay, ramping in terms of exercise. Hi, you're right. It's okay. Ramping in terms of exercise. And the reason I was doing a little bit of research into this, because I'm going to the gym with James every day now, and I was asking him about his particular approach to working out and stuff, and basically he loads more weight onto the bar with each set. So he might start off at a sort of medium weight, and then he'll add a bit more, and then he'll add a bit more, until the maximum weight is the final weight that you lift in that for that exercise. And it's an approach that I actually really like. It's an approach I actually really resonate with, and it's useful because it allows the muscles to sort of wake up, and it allows your nervous system, in fact, to activate, as I found out when I was reading some articles about this stuff. But what I discovered was a name for this idea, a name for this technique is ramping. It's basically like ramping up the weight, okay? And like with all things in exercise and fitness, there are different views on this. You know, some people think it's a great idea for putting on muscle mass. Other people think, well, you know, it's better to just have a static weight throughout whatever number of sets you're doing. Other people are saying, well, why not just start with a warm-up set and then just go straight to the heaviest weight? Why are you messing around with this ramping up thing? But there's some very compelling arguments for why ramping is a good idea in exercise. And it occurred to me just now, sitting here in this restaurant, that there's a sort of parallel between ramping and in terms of exercise and ramping in terms of one's libido, particularly, and this is, I guess, going out to maybe some of the older guys watching this stuff, because my impression is that it's very hard really to be in a place that is marked by outstanding beauty, you know, which is kind of what Poland is. You know, there's a lot of very beautiful, attractive women here. It's very hard to be in a place like this and not be affected by that. It's very hard to be in a city like the one that we're in now and not, you know, be influenced and not start to change the way that you feel, you know, about sex and dating and, frankly, you know, wanting to get involved more. So have I done a complete about-face from the videos earlier in the year where I was basically saying, oh, you know, I'm over it and, you know, guys getting fed up with sex and everything? No, I don't think I have, but I think what has happened is that my baseline level of desire has ramped up. And it's also ramped up because obviously I've been socializing. I've been, in the course of taking students out and working with those guys, I've also been socializing myself, so, you know, meeting different women and having conversations with them and things like that. And that process in itself activates your nervous system. And this is what they talk about in these articles about ramping the weights in the gym. It activates the nervous system. Okay, now, a very good article that I read said there were two key elements to any exercise that you do. The first part is fatigue, and obviously the main thing is to try to minimize fatigue, and the second thing is the mental and physical activation that each set creates in you, right? And obviously the greater the difference between the lower the fatigue, the higher the activation, the more effective those exercises are going to be. Okay, and so I suppose what I'm saying in a roundabout way is that if you are a guy and you're feeling jaded with life, you're feeling jaded with dating, you know, you're not even really in the mood for it anymore, but you still have that underlying, you know, obviously need to pair bond, to, you know, to have a bit of female company, whatever. It's not a bad thing to go to a place like where we are now that is demarcated by beauty, and then there's no point just sitting around with your proverbial dick in your hand. You've then got to actually go out there and start interacting. Now, you don't have to interact in a huge way, because remember, the ramping up concept in weights, you know, you're starting off with a lower weight and then you're ramping it up. So, you know, you don't have to start out by going absolutely crazy and, you know, burning the town down. It's not like that. But what you might want to do is start and just get into some small interactions and start, you know, shaking hands, saying hello, having a little chit-chat here and there. And a combination of that plus the inherent natural beauty that you'll see around you will kickstart the system to some degree. Okay, it will kickstart the libido. It will make you, you know, James often talks about how action precedes passion. Okay, it's not that you have a passion and then you take the action off the back of that passion. It's the other way around. You do the actions and then the passion comes about as a result. And that's exactly what I'm saying here. You know, my passion for, I suppose, interacting, meeting new people, dating, whatever, has been somewhat reactivated by being here. And also, I guess, as well, another element is being with a like-minded person, you know, so obviously hanging out with James, hanging out with the other guys that we're teaching and stuff. And then actually taking some action. And that has kick-started somewhat the desire. It's kick-started the, you know, and the enjoyment again. You know, the passion, the enjoyment starts to come back. Is that a permanent state of affairs? No, probably not, because I think if you had it on a graph and you really zoomed out and you looked at this on a sort of a year by year, decade by decade basis, is my sort of overall baseline desire to really crack on and get on with the dating stuff. Has it declined? Well, yes, it has. And I don't think you can just arrest that by taking a trip to Poland. But what I do think is that I think regardless of how much you think you're going your own way, regardless of how much you say, yeah, I'm going to go monk mode and blah blah blah, and that's fine, that's all I want. The reality is, I believe that most guys want some kind of female company in their lives. Now, whether that's a one-night stand, whether that is somebody that you're dating casually, whether you're dating non-monogamously and you're seeing different people, maybe in different cities across the world or whatever, or whether it's, traditional, getting into a long-term relationship, marriage, a wife, and all that kind of thing. I believe that most men genuinely want some form of female company, and that is a problem that you have to solve for yourself, because no one's going to do it for you. Okay, you're going to have to find a way to solve that reproductive problem. I say that in inverted commas because you don't necessarily have to have kids, but that's kind of what it comes down to on a biological level. You're going to have to be the one who goes out and solves that problem. And I think we can kid ourselves sitting around getting into a comfort zone that we don't want female company, and I think that's not true. I think that we do, but certainly as we get older and we start to know more what we want and what we don't want, we want it on our own terms, okay? And to get to that level where you're getting the female company that you want, but you're having it on your own terms, and importantly, you're not hurting anybody. You're not going behind somebody's back or being devious or whatever. It takes a degree of skill to get to that point. I don't think you can just click your fingers and master it. I think it takes a degree of skill and a degree of knowledge of male nature, female nature, the dating marketplace, and the kinds of things that work well in today's dating marketplace, which is obviously marred now by Instagram and all the rest of the ephemeral culture that we see around us. So just reporting back from the front lines, I would say that you can kickstart the libido if you want to. I'm not saying that's a good thing to do. I'm not saying that in itself inherently is going to make your life massively better, because having female company, having a girlfriend or meeting lovers or whatever, will give you momentary pleasure and seasons of happiness, but it won't solve your underlying existential problems. That's where the real work begins. But if you're honest with yourself, you probably do want at least a bit of some sort of dating or some sort of dating experience in your life, and action and putting yourself in a place of great beauty can kickstart that. Okay. As I say, though, you kind of need to know what you're doing. You need to be in a position where you can make things happen for yourself, all right? And that really is the purpose of when we do training with guys, right? We take guys out, we put them into as many social situations as we can get them into. It could be in the daytime, it could be at night, it could be in a bar, it could be in a restaurant like here or cafe, whatever. And we get them interacting, we watch what they do, we tweak what they do, we talk it through with them, we debrief, and we get them to repeat in a way that is more calibrated and is working better with the particular facets that they have to offer, whether that's their looks or their personality or how they speak or whatever it is, okay? So it's very tailored, it's very bespoke. So look, I'm still in Poland at the moment. We're going to be here until mid-July. If you'd like to join us, then email troy@realtroyfrancis.com or info@jamestusk.com. And we've got some space in Warsaw, we've got some space in Gdansk as well, so drop us a line and we can sort you out, we can help you out, even if it's, the program lasts for 4 days, but if you want to do a day or a couple of days, we can talk about that also. So hope is out there. Will it solve your inner demons? Will it put to rest all those questions about your life and the purpose of your existence and everything? No, it won't. And as I say, I think for me, as a guy in his 40s, I think it's kind of cyclical. I think it goes up and down. At the moment, I'm a little bit more enthused by dating than perhaps I was a couple of months ago. Will that be permanent? I don't think so. I'm still nowhere near what I was like when I was in my 20s, where I was just running around like a crazed fiend, trying to experience all the pleasures that life had to offer. You know, I'm just not in that season of my life anymore. But certainly, you know, I'm feeling the joy de vivre a little bit more, and I guess that's a good thing. But you've just got to keep it in perspective, right? But as I say, learning the skills is vital if you want to have a shot at doing this, really, which is, you know, traveling around, going to some cool locations and meeting some interesting people. So yeah, get in touch. Also do subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It really helps me, you know, push up the numbers, get to more people, help more people. Give me a like, give me a comment underneath. Give me a comment and tell me what other content you'd like to see in videos. That would be really helpful. And I'll try and sort that out. And yeah, with that, from sunny Poland on a sunny Sunday afternoon, see you soon. Bye-bye.